All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm gonna cover two, I think, on this one. If there's more time, maybe I'll throw in a third one. But I at least want to look at GameStop, and then I ran out of time, and I'm gonna throw in DXYZ on this one. All right, so GameStop. Look, this is what we've been looking for, right? We've been trying. We tried it a bunch of times right here. Not really too much here, but we've been trying for the last 2 weeks, right? This has been unable to break all five and fly. It has seemingly done so, right? Volume is now starting to get nicer. MACD, RSI both have that nice divergence. A little high on the 82 right there, so we'll talk about that a little bit. And then the weekly, I talked about this a lot on the Discord. I'm going to flash it here. The weekly is not quite over all of them just yet, and it's pretty much lining up right on that resistance line that I have, right? So this thing is doing nicely, but to me, it's that little bit missing on the weekly that's probably stopping this. But hey, 9% is a big number. I know there's a lot of squeeze thoughts and this and that, and rocket this and that with GameStop, but hey, that's a big gain on a single day. Just don't lose sight of that, all right? It's funny to say that now. Look at DXYZ, right? So DXYZ has been a wild beast here. I'm very glad I talked about that 50 resistance. I'm glad I did not draw any other lines. Believe me, I'm sitting here being greedy and wanting a lot too, but there's a reason that we try to go slow and steady, see how things react and attack from there, right? So I'll go over again why I thought 50 made sense today. Knock on wood, I was actually able to use that pretty well today and bank some nice little profits up there. I'm glad to see we're holding up here, right? But that's definitely an interesting doji. And hey, we've seen dojis a lot in this channel, right? You can see a bunch there, a bunch here. I'm already getting to a bunch of details I'll talk about, right? But there's a lot going on. And again, that's a crazy high RSI to say the least, right? So really excited to talk about this one and game as well, all right? But before we do go any further, though, and we give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it. All right, so let's get into this really quickly. And like I started the video with, this is what we've been waiting for. 2 nice candles getting over all the 5 moving averages. Golden crosses are starting to hit all over. I'm loving this, right? The one thing I talked about was this volume, all right? When you get these big, crazy spikes and crazy outliers, right? Like, look how low volume was before we saw that crazy surge. All of a sudden, what's going to happen is once the volume goes away, your 50-day line is just going to be incredibly hard to hit. And as you struggle, you basically just come down, right? Eventually the line comes back to reality. All of a sudden, these last 2 weeks have been nice volumes, and they're starting to get over that 50-day line, right? So again, you hear me say volume is king. You hear me say volume is queen for the ladies watching this. That's what I mean. Like, volume's important. And hey, I know 25 million shares is a lot, but it's a lot more when you're only expecting to trade, what, 9.4 million, right? All of a sudden, you're pushing almost 3x that number, right? So that's how we use that. And again, I think as volume picks up, that's what makes it easier. Because look, I talked about it in the beginning too. This moment right here in September, 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the fifth one? Fifth one's down here. We were trying to break all 5 right here. We were trying to break all 5 right here, right? We were trying, like, we've been trying to get over all 5 and fly for a good while now, right? And it's a big volume story in my opinion. This one's probably a bad one to pick because really we do end up flying right there. But yeah, I mean it's one of those things where I think volume dictated a lot. Okay, so why aren't we seeing more right now? I literally just saw one. Like, to me, I don't think it's institutionals not letting it move. I think the issue right now is this 200 moving average on the weekly. Okay, you can see on the daily we've had some better successes, right? But look how long of a fail it was before we finally got over it and went. Okay, on the weekly, right? We've actually been under that 200 moving. Look, again, on the weekly, this purple 200 moving, we've been under that since let's call it summer of last year, since the summer of 2023. We're knocking on the door of 25, right? So all I see is us under the thing, right? This isn't a good candle. All right, it looks like great moments on the daily, right? But when you look at it in the weekly, that's a bad candle. That's a candle, look in the box over there, that opens up here at $40 and then by the end of the week falls almost 25%, losing more than 10 bucks, dropping down to 20. I know it looks like the week went up 21 because clearly the week before was down here. No, more people lost a lot of money on that week, and the week basically doesn't count to me. Doji don't count. We're right back under, right? So that's why it's easy for me to say we've struggled with this purple line since the summer of 2023. I know it looks really good right now. I know that's a really healthy 65, and any other given day, I would say this is ready to get smashed, right? You gotta respect the line that's that difficult, okay? I think the one good thing is the market's doing well. The funny thing is, I generally assume GameStop does good when the market's doing bad, right? So, hey, NASDAQ doing well, Dow Jones doing well, S&P 500 doing well. Is that actually a good thing for a GameStop? Is it kind of a bad thing for me? I don't really know what to think about that, right? But look, I think the big story here is respect the lines, especially over a year and a half of struggling with the biggest, strongest, hardest line on the weekly, right? Again, I think this daily looks fantastic. I really do. My next line is this 28. Obviously, we've been talking about it a lot on that weekly. I think that's going to be a tough line. And really, what this thing is kind of telling me, this being the daily RSI, is I'm hoping we can get over it, maybe come back down, which will help us reset, and then take off. Okay? That actually kind of works well with the weekly because the 65 should be able to go. I think saying we're going to come up, come back down a little bit, and then take back off gives respect to the line. That's my best guess. But I'll tell you, I'm still bullish on this thing. I've actually been relatively bullish on GameStop for a bit. I've given it the respect it needed. But I was saying once we got over 23, good things should happen. And I would say that those two candles pretty much were those good things, right? So let's just see how this weekly toughest moving average reacts. And otherwise, look, we've got a nice MACD that's in the positive, and it's been struggling to do that, right? And hey, it was struggling to do that before and then got a nice little bump right there, right? So hey, maybe we do just get one more nice little pop. To me, I'd like it to be a little more sustainable, right? I really would. I know a lot of people, like I said, they want big numbers with GameStop and big squeezes and big rockets and this and this. There's nothing wrong with slow and steady. They both take you up. One's just a lot more sustainable on the way down as well. You know what I mean? So GameStop, I'm loving it. I am. I think that's the biggest comment. I'll quickly flash AMC. The one thing I said, because I covered AMC and GameStop together, is look, AMC is still battling with moving averages on the daily, as opposed to GameStop, which was trying to, and obviously eventually did break all five and had a little bit more room to run, right? So AMC has had some decent days. I know I saw that good little pop today. It was also mentioned. You can see right at the end of the day, they got a nice little move today. I think the issue is just there's a lot more traffic here as opposed to GameStop, which is just, it's a nice, clear, 4-5 lane, 8 lane, I don't know where you live, kind of highway, right? So just some thoughts right there. And again, it's one thing I've been talking about in the last couple of videos. Whenever you're looking at multiple stocks, the important thing is to find the bullish outlier and attack that one. You know what I mean? So yes, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into DXYZ. All right. And I think the first thing I want to say for DXYZ is fall in love. Yes, it's this right here. Okay. This was my comment pretty early in the day today, all right? Um where do I want to look? It's this right here. Look, there is so much good in the market right now. There is no need to focus on a single ticker. All right. Believe me, when you see something go from basically 10 all the way to 40 in what, 3, 4 days, it's for sure hard to not focus on that. I'm a simple, greedy human myself, right? So I'm saying that with a smile right now. This is a lot easier to type than to do. But there is so much good going on, and you can find some nice newer sustainable uptrends. The first I always start up here first. Sometimes you'll see me start on volume if I'm going to come down here. I have to start at this 94 RSI. That's a crazy number. All right. Now, clicking here, no, I think that's the highest we've been. I'm trying to like zoom in and see because this one's today's 94. What were you? Yesterday's 93. What were you? You're an 85. This is the highest of the RSI readings on this day. Look, I start hitting the alarm worry bell at 80. Okay, I start getting really loud about the RSI around 88. We are well past 90, pushing mid 90s. I think the highest I've seen is maybe 98. I don't know if I've actually seen a 99, but I know I've seen a 97. I think I might have seen a 98. Nonetheless, okay, this is a new stock. This is a new stock, all right? And again, some people say ETFs are a little safer than stocks, like bare bone stocks. That is a lie in my book. Every single 3, 4, 5 letter stock is a crazy gamble. And they can all make you lose a lot of money. And hey, knock on wood, they can all make you make a lot of money, right? So the point before I get into the technicals one more time, you don't need, if you miss this and you're trying to get in, you can look elsewhere. And Chewy, I've been talking about Chewy for a good while. It's been doing really well. I know we talk about Oust today. Affirm's been looking really good. Hims is pushing all-time highs. There's a bunch of earnings coming up, blah, blah, blah. All right, so you get the point, okay? Let's talk about DXYZ because there's some good things going on, right? And I think the first technical thing to talk about is this $50 target that I gave, okay? Look, you know I'm never here to say buy or sell. That's not the point of my videos. There are plenty of other people that will tell you no one cares about your money but you, and only you should be making that decision. You know what I mean? I was very, very intentional when I did not draw more lines up. Okay, believe me, I could have drawn this, I could have drawn that, I could have drawn that, maybe more. Like there are lines that are just jumping out that are saying draw me, right? It's really important to just set a realistic target, and generally, in my opinion, it's about two resistances up, right? We were still down here, right? Like the day on Friday ended at $36. If you're thinking up here at 60, you're almost already thinking 2x. If you're thinking 100, like that's not how the stock market works. You know what I mean? I think it's a really funny one to put right behind GameStop, because GameStop, I think, is the thing that messed all that up for most people, right? But this was 50% of that candle. All right. And hey, look, you can kind of say I didn't draw that well. Maybe it was a little too low and I probably should have drawn it a little higher. I'm not here for perfect, right? But roughly speaking, I thought half of this candle was going to be the good wall. And I mean, you can see it. I mean, it was pretty much to the penny. That's where the thing hit, right? So when the moving averages aren't there, to me, I become very dependent on candles. All right. Someone put this bands. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Here. So there, I do not know Bollinger Bands. All right. Truth be told, I used to call them Bollinger Bands, but it's pronounced Bollinger Bands. Some like snooty dude tried to like give me some that blah blah blah. So it looks like the upper And again, I'm just speaking out, I'm just reading what I saw from the chart, right? But the upper band was right here, and the theory is if you go to the third band 99% of the time it's gonna have to do a little bit of a reverse, you know what I mean? So that was the call out here. I don't know where the $50 line is. I only see the 30s. Nonetheless, right? Like there are multiple ways to do trading strategies when you have no moving averages. A lot of people like the bands. That's just not what I do, right? But one thing I love about the Discord is just, different trading strategies, blah blah blah. I'm digressing. I really apologize. So look, what am I thinking immediately? Okay, for me, I would not, if you're not in this, or even if you are, right? The only way we're gonna continue on up is if we break 43.40. Okay, if we can get over 43.40, I think all of a sudden my $50 target comes back to chance. And hey, that right there is about a 10% move. It's not quite, right? It's about $8 for 10%. We're adding a little less than 7. But hey, that's not a bad little move right there, right? If this thing is unable to break 43, the first place I look at is 36. Realistically, we'll probably come back down to 31. And hey, that's a pretty hard drop. If you're going to go from 40 to 30, that's about a 20% drop right there. So that's a be careful place right there, right? Looking at this picture, the 30, and again, I don't know if this is still a legit line yet or not, right? But the 30 right there really does tie in pretty good with my 31, right? Again, they're roughly in that same spot, right? So I could see this potentially holding this 36. I just feel like this line is, sorry, yeah, I could see the 36 up here holding. I just feel like this line's a little better because, like I started the video with, we've seen a number of dojis in this channel, and hey, to me, that's the real candle. That's the 50% point right there. So I'm kind of okay with it. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of it. Look, truth be told, 25 is a place this could come down to. And you can very much say 25 is still a bullish line. If this fell from 42 to 25, man, that would hurt a lot, right? So personally, I'm actually starting to eye a drop of 25. The 8 moving average is going to keep moving on up, right? And at some point the 8 will get to the 25. If it surpasses it, all of a sudden the 8's going to kind of be my expected low point, right? But I think to me, we've seen green, 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 red, red, red. I think we've gotten our green, green, green. I wouldn't be surprised if we red, red, red back down to 31. I could even see it continue on down to 25. All right. So I think personally, we're coming back down to one of these two numbers. I think a lot of it is the 94 RSI. The one thing I'm gonna leave you with, I think I'm gonna end it here. The 1 hour is not that bad. It's a 73. There's a good chance that the first hour ish might be okay tomorrow on DXYZ. My concern is as I zoom out a little bit that we're now at the 80 at the 2 hour and we're still in the 90s at the 4 hour, right? So it's a 7 hour trading day, right? You could have a couple good hours, but I think that 4 hour kind of still needs to reset a little bit, you know? So again, watch 36, let's call it 36, 37, 36.50, something like that. Watch that, then 31. This 4 hour chart is actually making me believe that it's going to be hard to come down to 25. I'm glad I did come down to this. Maybe at the moment, the lowest this thing might actually go is 28.40 based on that 4 hour chart. But again, going from 42 to 28, that's a big loss right there, and just be careful with that and watch it. But get me over 43 and good market can make that RSI really quickly irrelevant. All right. So yeah, I think that's my thoughts. Let me know yours. I appreciate you so much.